PFF's quarterback rankings. So let's get right into it. First off, you got in tier one, you got Patrick Mahomes. Not too surprising. I think he could be maybe the. I think he has a shot at being the greatest of all time. Honestly, I mean, if there's somebody that's got a shot right now, it's him. Obviously, I know Tom Brady. It's going to be tough to beat him with how many Super Bowls he's won. But if there's someone in that trajectory, it's Patrick Mahomes. I mean, um, yeah, and let's see, maybe they'll be able to repeat this year. Tier two, the elite. So in tier two, you got Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow. Lamar Jackson, who was great this past year, two-time MVP. Personally, I disagreed with this MVP. I thought it should have been Josh Allen, in my opinion. Yeah, and Joe Burrow, he's great. Sadly, yeah, he was injured this season, so we didn't really get to see him. When he did play, it also kind of seemed like he wasn't himself too. So hopefully, when we see him back this year, he's the same old Joe Burrow that we know. That's what I'm hoping for. It would be a real shame if injury affects his play to where he's not elite anymore. But really good player. Josh Allen also in this. I was worried for a second just thinking that, yeah, because Josh Allen's absolutely on the same level, in my opinion, as Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow. Should have won MVP. What he can do with his feet, well. You know, uh, in my opinion, he's just one of the top or top quarterbacks in the league. One of the things I think people don't like about him is the amount of interceptions he has and turnovers, but I really don't think it's that big of a deal. I feel like a lot of them are arm punts or whatever, and then a lot of people don't look at like fumbles either. When you compare to like Josh Allen's fumbles to Lamar Jackson, you see they're really not all that different turnover wise. So yeah. Justin Herbert obviously didn't have the best season, but I feel like that was more, just on the Chargers. He wasn't even like necessarily particularly bad. The Chargers just were not able to like finish games and get wins. Because they had a lot of good players. Just, I think really bad coaching, and yeah, weren't able to, put up the wins. So hopefully they can be a good team this year under Jim Harbaugh. And yeah, that being said, I still think just Herbert is one of the top players in the league. So, yeah. Dak Prescott, even as Giants, I admit he was very good this past year. In the playoffs, though. So that's not a surprise, right? But no, but he's he's been a good QB. I think a 6 makes sense. I thought he was pretty overrated, with some of the rankings the year before, but he did do really good this year. I wonder how he's going to do with his new line though, right? They lost some key linemen, and I'm pretty sure they drafted a rookie lineman. Who was it again? Tyler Ganger, I'm pretty sure. So we'll see how he, can play under maybe a not so good O line. And yeah, Matthew Stafford was great. I'm gonna be honest, I was a little worried this season with Matthew Stafford. Just him getting older. It seems like he was declining a little bit last year when he did play. So I was, just coming off of injury, I was not too confident in Matthew Stafford, but I was very wrong. He played incredible. So hopefully he can play good again. He's got 2 really great wide receivers now with Puka, Nakua, and Cooper Kupp. Hopefully Cooper Kupp can stay healthy. And yeah. Ooh, now one of the first ones I probably disagree with here is Aaron Rodgers this high. But maybe I'm making a similar mistake with Matthew Stafford, how he was injured and everything. But you look at Aaron Rodgers. Obviously was injured this whole last season, right? He's coming off of an injury after being injured the whole season. There's some off the field stuff as well that people are concerned about. More of just like, I mean, more of just him. I don't know, saying stuff that a lot of people disagree with, but some people are worrying he's spending too much time worrying about that. I guess I don't know. I don't really care too much, but you know, besides that, the year before that, Aaron Rodgers was not that good as well. So you take on the fact that he's 40 years old, his 2022 year was really not that good. I mean, you look at 2022, Daniel Jones had a better year than Aaron Rodgers, and Daniel Jones was a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers in 2022. And I don't think that should be controversial. So with Aaron Rodgers, turning 40, going into the season, I'm just not I'm just so not so I'm seeing turning 40. He's already 40, right? Um, I'm not too confident in him. But the Jets, you know, they're a solid team. They got some solid players around it, right? Um, especially their defense. So I could see the Jets, going kind of far this year, just having a decent QB with how they've been able to do with the defense. So we'll see about that. I still definitely think he'll be an upgrade over Zach Wilson. That's for sure. But yeah. They drafted a rookie too, didn't they? Did they? I think they may have. Um, hmm. Was it? Oh yeah, they did. Was it? Who was it? Jordan Travis, I'm pretty sure. I think. But anyway, Jalen Hurts, Philadelphia Eagles. I think this is a fair spot. Eagles been a great team. Been great on there. Of course, it's a very good team around him, right? One of the best lines in the league. Now they are losing Jason Kelsey. We'll see if that has any effect on their offense. They are getting Saquon Barkley now, so that's going to be big for them. But yeah, man. He's been pretty good. CJ Stroud, the Texans, he's also been a great player. One thing that people have been, I feel like not looking enough of though is the overall turnovers. People keep looking at the just the interception, the yards and all that, right? Like I think he only threw like 5 interceptions, but not a lot of people are looking at the fumbles. He did have quite a few fumbles. That being said, still very impressive for a rookie, right? Fumbles are pretty common for rookies anyway. So he still had a very good year. Brought the Texans far. I had the Texans, I think, honestly going all the way. Maybe not all the way, but I had them going pretty far. I thought I had them beating the Ravens. Did not, but they're a very solid team this year. So yeah, I think a big part of that was CJ Stroud though. He really led the offense, and obviously the wide receivers really stepped up for him too. Besides that, Jordan Love. Yeah, I think this is a fair spot. He was also really good. A lot of these like guys around here, you could really like switch. So I just don't really. Yeah, I mean a lot of these guys you can like switch when you get to like the top 10. So, but anyway, Jordan Love, great player. I think probably the best players on their offense. So, um, yeah, I remember when the Cowboys game was coming up, everyone was like, "Oh, there's no way," because they were like what was it? Um, I don't remember, but they were the last seed, and Cowboys second, whatever. So nobody thought they were going to beat them, but I always said the Giants and I wanted them to beat the Cowboys anyway, right? But I think people really overlooked them. No, I don't know, but Packers were really underrated at the end of the season. So Trevor Lawrence, yeah, I think he's a great player as well. I think this is a bit high at number 12 though. Personally, I have him more at like the 17ish area. I just think he's kind of overrated. He just doesn't put up a lot of the numbers that some of these other guys do. Nor plays either as well. I know he's definitely very talented. He's young. He's got a lot of time to develop still. So we'll see how it turns out for this year. He doesn't have the best team around him though, so there's that. Like he doesn't have like this elite team around him. For the most, I don't think he has necessarily a terrible team around him either. But for the most part, it's just kind of mid. We'll see how Brian Thomas will help him. But yeah, for the most part, he doesn't have like a lot of help there. So Brock Purdy, he's very good, and kind of the opposite of Trevor Lawrence, where he actually has a lot of help. Although the one thing I'll say where he doesn't have a lot of help right now, a lot of people are looking at is is the offensive line. Right now, I know PFF. I think they rated their offensive line pretty high, but a big part of that is because of the run blocking. You also got to look at you also got to look at what is it the pass blocking, right? I think that's one of the most important things, especially for a quarterback. And honestly, I think an offensive line might be more important than receivers and weapons. These skill positions. Just being able to get time, because at the end of the day, it all starts at the offensive line, right? Giving you time to give it to your receivers. So, his offensive line just wasn't the best pass blocking. You saw that, in the Super Bowl where Chris Jones kept getting onto him. Obviously, I know they have Trent Williams and he's the best tackle in the league, but got 5 offensive linemen out there, and when all the other offensive linemen aren't really good pass blockers, that's going to hurt you. And you saw that with, like I said, Chris Jones in the interior just dominating. He was, in my opinion, he was like the real MVP there. But yeah. But obviously, he has a lot of help too. He's got Brandon Ayuk. He's got Deebo Samuel. He's got Christian McCaffrey. He's got George Kittle. So many players there. They even went more offense this draft, and I thought they were going to go lineman. That's what I think they should have done. I'm not a big fan of the Ricky Pearsall pick, but who knows? Maybe they'll end up being pretty good. They did spend a first on him, right? So we'll see. Tua, he's a very good player. Always kind of, I feel like, a little underrated and rated at like the beginning of the season. Then he starts playing well, and then he starts getting overrated, and throws a bunch of picks and everything. I don't know. I feel like that's how it's been going recently. But he's still like a very good player, one of the top players, one of the top quarterbacks in the league. Um, so such a talented offense around him as well. Some very good receivers, a good O line. Well, I think they're losing some guys in the O line here, but overall very good. Kirk Cousins, can't wait to see him on the Falcons. You know, uh, I think he can really help there, right? Falcons really needed a QB. You got Drake London, you got Kyle Pitts, so got Bijan Robinson. You got a lot of guys that you want to see step up. So really excited to see how Kirk Cousins, plays there. Obviously, no one was really expecting the Michael Penix selection there. I could have honestly maybe understood JJ McCarthy because at least he's younger, but I just really didn't expect Michael Penix. Would have been interesting to see if they picked Roma Dunze, give him more help there, and have Kirk Cousins still Roma Dunze would have been pretty sick. But yeah, he's got some guys around him. I don't know if he's necessarily in a better situation than he was, on the Vikings, but obviously he's going to be big help to the Falcons. And yeah, I think he's very underrated right now. I would have Kirk into. I don't know why. I'm honestly surprised that Kirk Cousins is this low though. I would have him way higher. In my opinion, he's definitely better than Trevor Lawrence and all that. I would have Kirk Cousins. In my opinion, he's the top, maybe not top 5, but I'd at least have him like in this top 8 area. I would definitely have him over Aaron Rodgers, over Jalen Hurts, CJ Stroud, a lot of these other guys as well. So I think they did Kirk Cousins pretty dirty here. I don't know why he's so low. We'll see how he is after injury, right? But Aaron Rodgers was also just injured. Last season he played was not nearly as good as Kirk Cousins. I know, obviously, you look at the whole history, Aaron Rodgers is very good, but I just don't understand it. But I guess we'll see. Jared Goff, he was great, got paid a lot. I forget, he might be one of the highest paid quarterbacks, if not. I don't know. He got paid a lot though. And I think it's deserved. He's a relatively young QB, right? And I mean, say young, but QB's played like the 38 often, so. But yeah, the Lions' offense has just been so dominant for like the last 2 years, man. I remember in the beginning of last season, not this past season, but the season before, when like the Lions were not off to a good start, but their offense was doing very well, and everybody was sleeping on them. But then like they weren't looking at how good their offense was, because they were putting up a lot of points. They did great against the Eagles, I remember. So yeah, we'll see what they do this upcoming year. They got some very talented receivers. Amon-Ra St. Brown. We'll see how Jameson Williams is. You got Sam Laporta. who in fantasy I was surprised not many more people were drafting him because everybody knew he was the starter going into it, and everyone knew he was going to a good offense as well. They have one of the best offensive lines in the league. Jahmyr Gibbs is great. Same with Montgomery. You got Kyler Murray here. Kyler Murray we're gonna have to see. He's got a lot of problems with injuries, so hopefully he can be good. But I don't know. I'm not the most confident in him with how injuries been. Yeah, but we'll see. Geno Smith's been pretty solid, so good player. Caleb Williams, I guess this is more of a prediction. It's really hard to predict how these rookies are going to do. But he's a generational prospect, so we'll see how he does. This is now in this tier. I think Kirk Cousins should have been higher, maybe even Jared Goff as well into this tier, in my opinion. Aaron Rodgers got to be way lower, but yeah. Baker Mayfield, another guy that I think should be higher, and here he was very good last year for the Bucs. And he was a guy who I didn't think would be very good. I honestly thought Kyle Trask might get the job, just because last year, but outside of a couple games, a couple flashes, right, he wasn't too good. But he was very good this past year with the Bucs. Brought them to the playoffs, beat the Eagles, right? So they were a good team. We'll see how they can do with another year. With Baker Mayfield. I'm glad Baker Mayfield's kind of getting this redemption arc. So yeah, Derek Carr. This is kind of high for me, but I guess we'll see. I mean, he's always been like kind of just a solid player, right? But I feel like that's about it, right? There's just nothing really special with him. He's not really a guy that I don't think is going to get them far into the playoffs or in the Super Bowl. I can see Spencer Rattler starting over him this year, but let's see. Also just has kind of an ego. I'm not a big fan of him. Russell Wilson, they're paying, the Steelers not really paying a lot for him. We'll see if, Justin Fields gets to play over him this year. Not the Broncos have obviously been really bad on offense the past 2 years. I don't know how much is Russell's fault, and then it's going to a new team, new coaches, but we'll see. That being said, he's not going to necessarily a better offense, right? Steelers, they got George Pickens, but outside of that, just not the best O-line. I know they really tried to revamp that. They really emphasized their offensive line in the draft. But I've seen a lot of people on Twitter just trying to say like, oh, the Steelers look at their old line now, right? But you also got to remember these are all rookies, right? Last year, a lot of there was no rookie that really did amazing out the gate, right? I think the best rookie lineman was maybe who was it? I think he was on the Browns. I think it was DeJuan Jones to me, one of the best. He really solid. But even then, none of them were great or anything, right? So linemen usually take time to develop. So yeah, they did, put a lot in this draft to improve their line, but we also gotta see how they're gonna develop and all that. So got Deshaun Watson probably gonna end up as one of the worst trades of all time. We'll see if we can see older Deshaun Watson again. I don't know how likely that is though. Yeah, I feel like that might be lost, and he's coming off of another injury as well, so we'll see. Anthony Richardson, not a guy we really got to see a lot this year, right? Sadly got injured. Really shame, because he was actually looking kind of solid at the start of the season, so we'll see. But dude's definitely got a lot of potential in the most athletic QBs of all time. I should say the most athletic QB of all time, so we'll see how he is this year. Very excited to watch both this year. Bryce Young, was obviously very, very bad last year. Was a rookie though, so see how he does this year. Now they did emphasize, offense in the draft for Panthers. They got arguably 3 guys that could probably start. Honestly, I think by the time the preseason ends, or I think at the very least will start during the season, and that is who's again, right? Who's their first pick? I know they got Jonathan Brooks, Tavion Sanders, and then it was Xavier Legette. Xavier Legette, very athletic, big guy. I think he could be very good. Um, help them the receiver room. I know they got Deontay Johnson as well, so, but I could see him, being a top three receiver, um, to come year. Then you got Jonathan Brooks, who I also think will be a starter this year for them, and Jatavion Sanders as well. I think as a, as a high potential. So yeah, um, they, are trying to help him out on offense here and give him some weapons. After that, you got Jacoby Brissett and Drake May. I imagine Drake May is going to be the starter. Um, and he was, what was it, third draft player, right? So we'll see. Um, not going, I think, the best situation. Not, I don't think the worst either, though. But we'll see how he does there. And Jacoby Brissett is a great backup. Um, Jaden Daniels, again, we'll have to see. You know, very athletic, or at least very good running QB. So we'll see how he is from the Commanders. After that, you got Will Levis. I think he's got solid potential. He didn't look bad honestly when he played last year, but he's a rookie, and yeah, I wanted them to start him earlier over Ryan Tannehill just because I didn't really see Ryan Tannehill as a guy that was really going to bring it far. So yeah. We'll see. I think Will Levis can be pretty solid this year. After that, you got Daniel Jones, New York Giants, my QB. Um, Overall, I don't know if I'd have him this low. I feel like it's kind of unfair to rank Daniel Jones off of last season. First of all, he didn't even really play that much in 2023. He was injured most of the season. And when he was healthy, I'm pretty sure Andrew Thomas was injured for most of the season too. He had one of the worst offensive lines in NFL history. Not the best receiving room. If you look at 2022, which I think would be more fair to rank him off of, he was a top 16 QB. Now, does that mean I think he'd be top 16 now? Not necessarily, because I think a lot of QBs have risen up since then. But he was like a top 16, but kind of like in that fringe top 16 QB area. It was better than Aaron Rodgers, like I said. And that was with going into the season. I think Kenny Golladay was like in our top 3 wide receivers. I'm pretty sure, right? And we all saw how that turned out. So, considering everything Daniel Jones did with how bad of a team we had in 2022, I really think he could be a lot better if you just have a good team around him. And it's really unfortunate because he's never had a good team around him, even in college. So hopefully with Malik Neighbors and hopefully with some changes made on our O-line, getting Jermaine Illuminor, and Runyon, hopefully we can be better this year. And I just want to see Daniel Jones at least do decent. And yeah, because our team's still not the best, but again, hopefully our O line just improves at least a bit. I don't, I'm not saying we've got to have the best offensive line in the league, but I'm just hoping our offensive line, not even like really good. I'll be happy if our offensive line is just like mediocre. That's kind of what I want this year. And just so we can actually see, how Daniel Jones can play. But yeah. After that, you got Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew, also rookie this past year. Was an old rookie though at 25. I don't think he played necessarily bad though. So we'll see. I can see him starting over Gardner Minshew honestly. But Gardner Minshew also was solid for the Colts. Very close to making the playoffs, and I think he's a solid player. A guy that was coming in as a backup at the beginning of the year, right? So yeah, Sam Darnold or JJ McCarthy. I imagine JJ McCarthy, right, with how high they picked him. But Sam Darnold, I don't think he's that bad as a backup, honestly. JJ McCarthy, we'll see. I did not want the Giants drafting JJ McCarthy, just because he just didn't play in an offense that passed a lot, and now going to the Vikings, an offense that does pass a lot. I think it would have been a lot better off if JJ McCarthy went to the Falcons to sit under Kirk Cousins, and then you have Michael Penix start on the Minnesota Vikings. That's how I think it should have went. But we'll see. Maybe JJ McCarthy proves everybody wrong, and is able to go into high passing offense and do solid right away. But I'm not too confident in JJ McCarthy, but got a lot of potential. He's a young guy, so we'll see. Then 32 Jarrett Stidham is terrible, so But Bo Nix, we'll have to see. I think he's definitely got a high upside, right? But I don't know. We're going. Let's see. The Broncos have just not been the best offense. Yeah, but anyway, that's the top 32 quarterbacks. I have a few issues with it. Like I said, I think Kirk Cousins is way too low. He's got to be higher than that. He's got to at least be in tier, what is it? I guess tier 3, in my opinion, Kirk Cousins. I guess, Patrick Mahomes have in his own tier, right? So, he's got to at least be in tier 3, though, with these other guys, in my opinion. He's just as good. Aaron Rodgers has to be out of tier 3. Take Aaron Rodgers, put him, I don't know, tier 4 or 5, maybe. Probably put him in tier 5. Nah, maybe put him in tier 4, I don't know. But Baker Mayfield, at least put him in tier 4, man. At least put him here. You gotta have Baker Mayfield higher than that. Jared Goff, maybe I'd put higher too. Maybe I'd take CJ Stroud down 1. But I get some of these are also kind of predictions and see how they're gonna be next year. Then Daniel Jones, I feel like they'd probably be above some of these rookies. And some of these other players like Russell Wilson as well. Derek Carr, I think he should probably be over, but I get it why people are hesitant on him. I just think it's some of the things people are grading him off of is unfair. Like I feel like grading him off of 2023 is just not really fair. I think you should more look at his last time he really played. That was 2022, and he was solid. So, yeah. But anyway, that's PFF's top 32 quarterback rankings. A few issues I have with it, but for the most part, I think there was some solid. I don't think it was that bad. I'm not that have the lower here, but yeah. So that's PFF's top 32 quarterbacks, or all starting quarterbacks, and yeah, that's about it.